am a big proponent of a high carbohydrate meal before bed when you're sick.
All right, welcome to the Bacon, Bibles, and Barbells podcast. I'm Coach Justin, joined by Coach Bill and Coach Amanda. Today we are talking about seasonal illness and how to avoid, prevent, or even treat it. We'll kind of have some commentary on all of the above. It's multifactorial. We don't believe it's due to just being around a little more people than usual, which I don't think is honestly the case for most of us, because we go to church full of people. We do midweek church things. Some of us go to work or go to kids events or whatever else. So if there is, it's not that much more. Maybe there's a little bit of extra travel, but whatever. I think it's more complicated than that. I think all of us here think it's more complicated than that. So we're going to make the case to everybody of what those factors might be and how to just be more educated and aware so that you can prevent and even try to deal with certain seasonal illnesses. Should they happen to strike your family, as they've taken out so many around me in my church, that's for sure, recently. So let's kind of get into it. Bill, I think because you had some good thoughts on this, on some of the factors that lead to, I almost don't want to call it seasonal illness, because we can almost just say the phenomenon generally known as seasonal illness. Yeah. But I it is seasonal. It correlates with the season, but it's incidental, I think. And maybe, do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest problem there is just defining it generally as illness, right? That's the challenge. Is it really illness? And we just have to talk about a couple of things there. So there are definitely different viruses or exosomes or things that are going around, bacterial items or whatever, that sort of have a seasonal bent, in the sense that people tend to get symptoms of these diseases more often in the colder seasons. However, there's a couple things taken into consideration. One of them is that without a really strong and accurate viral test, which are not super common, the PCR tests you take don't say much, and they're not very accurate, and so you can't really take those to the bank.
The inventor of the PCR test says it's not very useful.
Yeah, correct. And you can pop positive for 5 different illnesses if you pop positive for one, and it's complicated. Yeah. But regardless, it's an accuracy problem, right? Yeah. And so there's not necessarily any indication of what you have. It's probably better to go by symptoms and go, it seems to fall into this category of illness. But one thing to consider is that about 30 to 40% of your symptoms are going to be what they call somatoformic as well. So this is environmental. It is psychogenic, meaning it comes from your mind, and it affects your body, right? It's not that it's fake. It actually does affect your body. But a lot of what people are experiencing with sort of immune dysfunction and things like that at this time is sort of the depressed state, a physical state that they're in from the season itself. It is darker outside. We don't get as much sunlight. We don't sleep as well. Our circadian rhythms are off. We do tend to eat a lot more. Folks tend to drink a lot more and more to excess. There's also a great deal more stress, both physical and mental, at this time. Including, prep for holidays, or you could be taking on a second seasonal job to make money, or you could be doing traveling. You could be doing any of that stuff. Your kids
paying
could be
for your family to travel out of state to see grandparents.
Yeah, exactly. So there's all kinds of factors there, but probably the most prominent factor is the depressed physiological and psychological state that you're in, that has the greatest effect on your body. You'll notice that sometimes when you go through the fall and you go through the winter, it's like you have the sniffles every single day of that season, no matter what. Well, are you ill with something every day of the season? That's unlikely, right? Yeah. Especially if those symptoms are mitigated by midday, after you've eaten, after you've gotten up around and moved and things like that. So that's the first caution. Wait a day or so. Try to see if just moving around, eating normally, getting things back into sort of a normal rhythm helps. If it does, you're probably not ill with anything, right? There's probably no infection to be had. Yeah. So,
Your body's probably just not taking care of business very well at the moment.
Correct. So, by the way, you can get the sniffles if you eat enough capsaicin at dinner. It doesn't mean that you're infected, right?
Yeah.
With something. Just know that everything
or some people do that with dairy.
Correct. Everything you do, everything you consume, everything about your daily routine is more likely contributing to the terrain of feeling unwell, right?
Yeah.
That's your internal terrain. Then it is likely that you're infected. That's not to say that infections don't happen. They certainly do. And they're more likely to happen when you are in a depressed physiological or psychological state, which are connected.
Yeah. And by depressed, for those that might not be used to hearing that phrase used that way, a depressed physiological state means a less capable state.
Yeah.
So your body, a lot of it does operate like a very, very complicated machine that's meant to operate in certain ways. Yeah. This time of year, a lot of people are operating the machine in a way that it's not really made to do.
Right.
And so you put any one of these factors in play, and you can get sick easily, or at least have symptoms of illness, like you said, without having necessarily a virus or bacteria or like a germ of any kind. Right. But it just, your body loses competency at handling like day-to-day things of managing where fluids should be and things like that. If you add all of these factors onto an individual, so your circadian rhythm is disrupted, your sleep quality is low because you're, drinking more alcohol than usual, which alcohol does tend to have a depressant effect anyway, especially the following day. So lower quality sleep plus depressive effect. It is immunosuppressive. Excessive sugar and processed foods in general are immunosuppressive and also depressing. Also, they have a depressing state. Like, they do depress you. You don't feel as good when you're eating them. And then all the things that can add up to stress. Financial, because you're trying to pay for holiday expenses, things that come up, whether it's gifts or hosting people or traveling or whatever you got going on. You throw all these into one thing, and then you travel, or people come travel to you, and maybe they do bring things that you're not used, your body hasn't fought off before, new germs, viruses, etc., and you're already in a very vulnerable state. It's kind of like, well, of course this can happen.
Yeah, and the other thing to consider is that with the contact, it's probably less about exposure to some kind of aerial or airborne disease, and probably more if you're exposed to people about the exposure to dead, dying, or infected tissue, right? Which, when it comes in contact with living tissue, of course, has the opportunity to infect, right? And so that's one of the major differences, and I think it's worth stating, is that when you have holiday get-togethers, people will get a stomach bug. And unfortunately, what's probably happening is someone who prepared the food or touched the food was infected. They left dead tissue on anything that they were cooking or touching, and you consumed it. And consuming dead, dying, or infected tissue is going to cause you to have an infection or a reaction of some kind. And so that it's not like inhaling it out of the air. That's actually far less likely than something like direct contact. So just keep that in mind. If grandma's got the sniffles, go ahead and give her a hug. It's not going to be the end of the world. That's probably not going to be the thing that makes or breaks you. But another way to think about the word depressed state is to think about a down-regulated state, metabolically and, of course, hormonally, which is a lot of the psychological element as well. And so you're going to be down-regulated. You're not fighting stuff as much as you can. This is a great season for really hot baths, really hot showers. Raise the body by a degree and let it sit for 10, 20 minutes. This is a natural way to fight off infection that your body does itself. Yeah, exactly. Training. Yeah. There are numerous books from history of old athletes that when they started to get sick would train until they poured sweat, and then the next day they would feel much better, or they'd be fine, right? And there's not a long history of ancient athletes or old athletes with using elixirs or serums, for the most part, really just using exercise, No,
not like essential oils and stuff like that?
No, nothing that. And not that, by the way, not that taking something is the worst thing in the world. Here's the deal. If
the most important thing is if it makes you kind of feel good because you like the smell.
Yeah. Like here's the deal. If you feel like I'm fatigued and I'm symptomatically aware enough that I don't want to exercise, right? Now I could exercise. I'm not that sick. I don't have a chest cold. I'm not throwing up, right? I don't have a fever. I got the sniffles. I got a little bit of a cough, maybe a little sore throat. And maybe I've got some drainage, right? Which is the most common form of illness that people experience, right? Overnight drainage. And so you could definitely work out, but the fatigue, the awareness of the symptoms makes you fatigued. It's painful. You go, I can't work out. If you're having like an essential oil or taking like a Dayquil or something like that is going to help you exercise and get back into your normal routine, then by all means do it, please. Yeah. Because that activity is going to probably help a lot more than it hinders you for sure, even if it's just a long walk.
Yeah, and I can say anecdotally along those lines, when my family, so my wife, she played volleyball and stuff in school, but she didn't like really train with weights until we'd been married for a while. And I've lifted even before I started taking training really seriously about 9 years ago. I lifted on and off over the years, but never like real seriously and never that consistently. And since we started training, and my kids have always done some sort of activity, even when they were really little, while we're training in like our home gym. Since that time, we basically don't get seasonal illness. Like, and we would always get. Now, I usually didn't for whatever reason, but like my wife and the kids would get like at least one serious stomach bug in the fall winter. They would like take them all out for like a week or two. That basically has not happened. I'm not saying it's impossible to happen, but it basically hasn't. And to be clear, the first probably 4 years of our training history together, we weren't that strict about our diets. We just made sure we got enough protein in, and like we've never eaten much processed food, so it's still like a lot better than what most Americans would be eating. But like, it was probably like not nearly as tight as it is today, and like the main variable change was the training, honestly. And like I didn't take vitamins really until probably 6 years ago. Except for magnesium. That was the only thing I took for like a long time. That was pretty much the only variable. And that made it so that it basically doesn't happen. Like, people get the sniffles, and we've had a fever or two with the kids and like minor things. Even my wife's gotten sick a few times. It's like it never happens. But like that like seasonal bug that tends to sweep through households, once or twice over the season, we basically just, it doesn't happen to us. I'm not saying it never could, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can confidently say it's not, if you stand outside when it's cold and raining, you're not going to get a cold. Like that old wives' tale is just, it's just not a thing.
Well, you might, but it's because your body's just so miserable from standing out in the cold.
Yeah.
And I would say this with the diet and the training, one thing is we did mention the overeating, sugary treats and all that stuff at this time of year as well. And I'd love to hear Amanda's opinion on this as well. I'm just coming from a perspective of someone who has done preps and put people through preps, right? I do love the idea in these times of time-restricted eating. Pulling that lever now does seem like a really appropriate place to do it. And it doesn't mean fasting. I don't ever fast anybody, and I never fast myself, but unless I'm sleeping. But then I'm still pulling a time restricted lever, because what I'll do is say, well, I'm just going to have protein shakes and maybe just a little bit of fruit and honey for some carbs along the day. Something like 500 to 600 calories throughout the day to just sort of keep me going, an adequate amount of protein through the time. And then I can sort of eat at night. I'm still going to feel full. I'm probably still going to feel a little bloated. I may sweat from all the carbs, things like all that normal stuff that you get. But as far as overall health, you'll still wake up the next day feeling quite a bit better, because you haven't consumed 3,000 more calories than you were at maintenance. Instead, you consumed a lot of food at once, but as you slept, all that stuff gets used up and digested. And then the next day you're like, actually, I don't feel like over bloated and horrible. Right. Because I pulled that time restricted lever at this point. What do you think about that, Amanda?
I think it's a good tool to use, probably not all the time, because you need to make sure your lifestyle habits and nutrition timing is good all year, but it's a good seasonal tool to use. especially with a lot of gatherings and a lot of, getting together. It's a lot more than just Thanksgiving and Christmas Day. It's parties, there's work stuff, there's multiple families to get together with, lots of friends, do Friendsgiving, and then also stuff with their families. And so there are increasingly more opportunities to overeat or to pick the wrong foods. And using time restricted dieting can be a tool that you can use during this season just to, have a cutoff. Like, you can stay to the party till 10, but maybe stop eating at 7:30 or 8,
Yeah.
And it's just a tool you can use in your tool belt. Also, one of the things we discussed last week was kind of front loading your protein. So you're already satiated. You're not necessarily having to focus on protein foods. Like, most of the time when I tell people to go out to eat, pick something that's quite full of protein, but that's not always an option at these holiday parties. It's a lot of snacks and desserts and stuff. So if you're already loaded on your protein for the day, you're not going to want those as much in the first place. So it's just a very inflammatory season. I think the biggest complaint that I hear for everyone who wants help at New Year's after the holidays are over is they feel bloated and sluggish and thick and sore, and they just don't. All of those are signs of inflammation.
And their sleep stinks, and
their sleep
is terrible. Yeah. Well, especially right after New Year's, like, you stayed up till midnight, which I personally never do. But
we try most years, but we just don't make it. It's like get to a certain point, it's like I'm too tired. Like, I think last year we actually did. I don't remember what we were doing. We actually it's actually midnight. We made it this time. I don't know what we were doing, but like most years, like we'll stay up tonight, and then it's 10 p.m. and I'm just like, I'm tired, and Emily's like, I'm tired. Let's just go to bed.
One of the other things. Go ahead.
That since it's a stressful season, and obviously all these stressful things that we do physiologically to our bodies are going to affect your cortisol, and you're also just mentally stressed with all of the events that you have to go to. I just want to say it's okay to say no to going to some of these things. And if that takes stress off of your plate and helps you to be a healthier person, that's okay to do. I'm not saying ignore something that you're supposed to do. Or, don't get together with that one stressful family member because, it's just going to be awful or whatever, but maybe limit your time, and it's okay to say no to things if that is going to make you healthier.
It's a perfectly normal response to say, I'm sorry, I can't make it to this. It really doesn't fit my goals right now. I don't know why that response is so villainized. It's totally okay in a season where there's 1,500 gatherings to go. I've got plans for Thanksgiving, Black Friday with family. I don't think I can do the Saturday evening hangout, like cookie and beer hangout. It just doesn't fit my goals right now. Or you say, hey, if I can just come and hang out and have diet sodas, right? That might be good. Or, hey, I'm just too tired. I need to catch up on rest, whatever. Like, that stuff is perfectly normal. And you can do it in a way that's cordial, right? But it's completely normal to say, hey, I have some goals right now, and this just doesn't fit them, in that regard. And if your goal is being healthy, that makes even more sense because you're not doing anybody any good if you're sick and laid up, And I think we talked about the sugar, the alcohol, high fat obviously is a big deal at this time of year. Amanda mentioned front loading your protein, and you go to these parties, it can be hard to find protein that isn't just loaded with fat either. Yeah. Right. You've got lots of Christmas roasts, right. And deep fried turkeys and all these kind of things, right. That we're just calorie stacking using fat. And it can be hard to find lean protein sources, even if you are trying to prioritize protein. And so this is also a great time to do some zero sugar sodas if you like them. Sparkling waters are great. Any of those things that help you feel full and keep you satisfied as you go along through the night. But one thing to consider too is your immune system, it basically functions on the secretions from your organs. If you're drinking alcohol, your liver's busy. So is your kidneys. If you're eating a bunch of fat, your gallbladder's busy. So is your pancreas. If you're eating a bunch of sugar, your pancreas is busy, right? So is your liver.
Yeah.
You are going to have a harder time fighting off a legitimate infection if you are in those states consistently across several days, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just
I
something
think a
to
lot of
consider.
people as well go into over disinfecting mode with their hand
Yeah,
sanitizers and
correct.
whatever they're using. They change the things they're using to clean their homes just because, there's going to be a lot of people around or whatever. And this might be my crunchy side coming out, but I think if you're getting rid of all of that, you're not really letting your immune system be robust as much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying have a filthy house and never wash your hands, but
Right.
if you're removing all of that all the time, like that's actually one of the reasons hospitals are kind of unsafe is because they're so
Because they're so
disinfected that
antiseptic.
things mutate. So like,
Yeah.
it's okay to let the kids play in the dirt or the mud or whatever. You don't have to
Mm-hmm.
just keep everybody completely disinfected all of the season just because of what's going on. If you come
Yeah.
into this season already healthy and you maintain, I would say 75 to 80% of those habits, you'll probably be fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, and I think, you're also destabilizing the terrain, right? If you're freshly cleaning your house with a bunch of different stuff, then you're essentially changing your terrain from a bacterial perspective specifically, right? But also from a viral perspective, just from an exposure perspective. If you want to talk about germs or whatever, that's fine. But you're essentially taking all the microbiome from your home
Hmm.
and you are ridding your home of it, which means it will develop a different microbiome. And if it's introduced to one that's vastly different in that time, then you potentially will have issues, right? Processing some of that in your own body. And so it's just, and then that can cause inflammation, can cause issues. It's the same thing as, when we do an elimination diet, we're sort of removing some of the microbiome, right? And
Yeah.
trying to stabilize it. If we destabilize it and not feed somebody and then we feed them, they're going to get sick,
Yeah.
right? So you can sort of compare it to that. If you destabilize a microbiome in your gut by not eating for 4 days and then you have a big, heavy meal that causes sort of a new gut microbiome to have to begin to form, it's
Yeah.
not going to be there. And you're
Yeah.
going to throw up. You're going to have terrible, nightmarish diarrhea, all the good stuff, right? That you have when you do that stuff. Well, it's sort of the same thing with your body and your internal microbiome and your external microbiome, and you do have both of those. Um,
Yeah.
if you're just bleaching your house, that's no good. So to Amanda's point, even pragmatically, don't chase your kids around with bleach wipes. That's just not going to be conducive.
Yeah.
When you're so antiseptic that nothing touches you at any given time for any extended period of time, it is like a hospital. The stuff that gets through is going to be the stuff that's really nasty, and those are legitimate illnesses that
And
will
that
put you
your
down for
immune
a
system
time.
is used to very low load anyway. There's an atrophy
Right.
effect that's very real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that the real takeaway here is like you can it's okay for some of these seasonal changes to be in place. They just have to be controlled in a certain degree of moderation.
Yeah.
Like, yes, go out with your friends if you can, the right number of times. Maybe don't stay out as late. If you do drink, moderate it and try not to be as many nights per week. If you're going to have sugar, have a small amount, but not every night, and moderate it. Like, that's the real takeaway here is like, have moderation, try to go to bed on time. Those things are what are going to allow you to fight off whatever you encounter in your environment. But like, that's like the main
Yes.
preventative measure really is like, it's okay. Like we just recently talked about biblical feasting, like go feast. That's good. Just feast the right way in the right context and not every night and not every day and not all night. Like
Right.
it's like the poison is the dose, right? It's not necessarily the thing. It's just how much, how often, what's the frequency. Like have a degree of moderation around the thing. Enjoy it for what it is without overindulging, and you likely won't have the consequences to deal with after. And that's very strong on the lifestyle preventative. But what can
I do have one more to interject.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
just
go
real
ahead.
quick.
My name is Justin Johnson with High Calling Fitness. Maybe you're tired, gaining weight, waking up with joint pain, back pain, and a body that just doesn't feel like it used to. You've tried to fix it, but nothing seems to last. What if you don't need another app or crash diet, but a real coach, someone to meet you where you're at and walk with you step by step? At High Calling Fitness, our coaching comes to you wherever you are. No matter where you live, small town or city, across the country or across the world, your health still matters. You don't have to go it alone. We build personalized plans based on your goals, your schedule, and your equipment, even if it's just a set of dumbbells in a small space. This isn't just training, it's a personal partnership. You'll get weekly updates, one-on-one access to your coach, and ongoing support through Zoom and Slack every step of the way. We're here to help you build strength, restore energy, and claim the life you were meant to live. Book a free consult today. Let's talk about your goals and see how we can build something better together. High Calling Fitness, built for the everyday, ready for the extraordinary.
Especially for our bodybuilders and powerlifters, more cardio. Do more cardio sessions during this time, 20 to 30 minutes. Even if you can do it every day, that's going to serve you really well. There is a strong correlation, and there's no causation here. You're not going to be able to prove this, but there's a strong correlation between even 20 to 30 minutes of mild aerobic exercise and improved immune function over the course of time, especially during seasons where you are immunosuppressed and depressed. So so just one thing, don't skip your cardio, and even potentially add a little more if you're feeling up to it, right? Make sure you're moving around just a little bit more in that way.
Yeah. So that's a great
I will
point.
say that I was feeling Sunday, the back of the throat was getting sore. My one side of my head was getting congested, and I was like, not this week. I can't do that. We have places to go. So if it does happen, if you do start feeling it, there's ways that you can try to mitigate that. It's not always going to work. Sometimes you really do have something. Sometimes you're really going to come down with something, and that sucks. But I mean, just something that I did, I didn't start loading up with medicine. I did a saltwater gargle in my mouth. I used the neti pot. Make sure you use distilled water for that, with warm water and some salt. Just try to wash everything out, but I'm not trying to just completely obliterate my whole system with medication. I made sure my nutrition was on point. I got more water than I usually do, and I went to bed a little earlier, slept in a little longer, just to really sleep that out. Not so much that it messes up my circadian rhythm, but just to make sure I'm getting the rest that I need, and that it's getting to the full deep sleep that I need it to be. And I feel better today. I could tell my son was starting to deal with the same thing, did the same things for him. He's fine today. I'm not saying it works every time, but if you jump to just straight to medicine and, just, overloading with NyQuil, DayQuil, whatever it is, it's not going to be the fix. It's going to mask a lot of the symptoms. Sometimes you don't get the rest that you need with things like that because you feel better and you think you can tackle everything that you normally do, and you should be resting. So, start with the easy stuff. Saltwater rinses, gargling, sleep, water, good nutrition, and that's going to help. Vitamins are great. We use them. We have a go-to immune pill that we have in our house that anytime we start feeling something, we take it. But I don't think it is. I think the placebo effect of it is more than what it actually does, but I'm still going to do it because it seems to work. So those things are fractional. The behavioral, the lifestyle things.
Those are the biggest players. Yeah. What's going to help you when you're exposed to an illness, fight it off, is mostly all the things that you did the last couple weeks, more than anything else. What were your behaviors? So kind of along those lines, if you're going to a social gathering, you want to prevent illness. So we'll talk about, acute prevention, I think would be a good way to put it. And then talk about more things about how to deal with some sort of illness or something like that, like what you experienced. So let's talk about the acute prevention. So day of, right? Someone's already been doing everything else, but they want to make sure that, Thanksgiving, you might be, you might know inevitably there's going to be some sick kids around, or, even when you go to church, right? There's sick people around potentially and things like that. Like what are some go-to things that we can be like doing or whatever that like will help on the day of, as far as like, you're going to be exposed to something, you just want to be somewhat preventative that day.
Yeah. Brush your teeth in the morning, right when you wake up.
Yeah.
Right when you wake up, get up, brush your teeth, brush your gums.
Yeah.
And that's going to help you a lot. What that does is it brings blood and fluid into the gums. Well, one, it cleans the teeth, right? But also it brings blood and fluid into the gums. It actually makes your gums more resilient. So your gums are actually, they actually have a positive relationship with inflammation. When they get inflamed, they get tougher. Okay. That's why the dentist will like poke the crap out of you. And if your gum bleeds, they're like, you're not beating your gums up enough with your floss, right? Like they'll tell you, like, you actually do have to sort of give your gums a little bit of a workover. Well, the gums and the mouth
Gently,
are sort of
don't like go crazy on your gums.
Yeah.
You can cause damage.
Yeah, no, totally. And be reasonable, of course. But that is definitely the seat of the modern seat of disease, right? In the body is the mouth. And so that's where a lot of that begins. They'll tell you that that's where cardiovascular disease begins. It's where illness begins. So brush your teeth right when you wake up. Give your gums a good brushing. Give a good rinse, maybe with an alcohol-based rinse, something like Listerine. Mm-hmm. Do it while the toothpaste is still in your mouth, by the way. The reason you do this is because the abrasion is still there when you're swishing, and it gives a bunch of that to the roof of your mouth, the back of your throat, your tongue, and some of these other structures that don't get brushed or touched as well when you're brushing, right? That helps kind of keep them resilient. So that's number one.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. My like other go-tos for me, pretty much everybody should take zinc and vitamin C every day. I think it's just good. So like, but that's not something you would pick on a day. You should normally just be doing that.
But you don't need a ton of it. Like the other thing is people overloading it. You don't need a ton of it. Regular old dose.
It's not gonna like some people are like, oh, I'm gonna take like 5 grams of vitamin C. It's like, well, you just took a diuretic. That's all you did.
You're gonna get sick. Right.
Yeah. It's gonna you're gonna pee it out. Like that's all. It has a diuretic effect when you have that much. It doesn't. You don't absorb it. So like the main two things that I like to use. There's actually like 2 or 3 players for me. One's going to be nicotine, like a nicotine pouch or gum or something like that, especially orally, because it's going to it's going to have an antiviral effect. Mm-hmm. And you don't need much, by the way, for this effect. Like 1 3 milligram pouch or gum is all that's needed for the day. Mm-hmm. Like if you're just trying to get like minimum amount to be helpful, 3 milligrams for the day, you got your bases covered. Like that's really all that's needed to do much. Yeah. And then actually one thing that I found can be useful, and I don't have a whole lot of clinical evidence to back this up. There's not a whole lot out there. There's just a little bit. But actually, I have had some people try the elderberry like gummies, and they do seem to work. I've had like families try them, and they do actually seem to have a preventative effect. And then, go ahead.
I mean, elderberry, there is some clinical research on its fever reducing capabilities. Mm-hmm. That's what it's really, that's one thing it's really known for.
Yeah.
But it's because it's sort of anti-inflammatory. Mm-hmm. And so you can have an elderberry gummy, elderberry syrup. Lots of people make elderberry syrup now in really strong concentrations. And so, that's good. I also, in that same vein, I also like Manuka honey for sore throats. If you have a budding viral or bacterial infection in your throat, Manuka honey is a great way to deal with that. It does 2 things. It is antibacterial, but also it is thick. It's unlike normal honey. Like when you get it out, it's
almost
real
waxy.
Thick.
Yeah,
it's real waxy, and it will sort of coat your throat, and that helps quite a bit too. So if you have some Manuka honey, throw a little bit of salt on there, mix it up, and take that, a little bit of water. That helps a ton if you're having throat stuff and everything as well.
Yeah. The other one that I would say is the zinc lozenges can be preventative, and they also can help treat as well. So I think it's Zicam or whatever. There's a bunch, Zicam. By the way, though. Like you can get an off-brand one. They all work,
right?
Yeah. They do actually work.
They have like lollipop versions for kids, We used to give them to my kids. They're little lollipop versions. So because they don't want, if they don't want to suck on the lozenge or they don't like it, they've got these little lollipops that it's flavored like a lollipop, but it's got the zinc in it. And that's a great way, for the kids to have it if they're not keen on the regular zinc lozenges that don't always taste amazing.
Yeah, and they do work too once you start feeling a tickle in your throat. Like one of the first things you should do is have a lozenge.
Oh yeah,
a zinc lozenge. Like they really do work. The zinc kills on contact if it comes in contact with a virus or anything like that. Very, very, very. It's very potent. Works really well. And then if you do get something, Amanda just outlined a lot of what you can do, especially if it's like throat and nose related. Gargling with salt water. I like to gargle with warm salt water. I don't know if it actually works better, but I wonder if it does just because of promotion of blood flow, and it's also because it's warm. It's if there's any mucus, it'll break that up a little bit better than cold water will. By the way, when you do this, you want it salty, disgustingly salty, salty enough that if you swallow it on accident, it'd make you puke. Like think seawater salty. Like it needs to be potently salty to do its job. You're going to spit this back out. You're not going to swallow it.
Right.
Gargle with that. It works. And you can do this 10 times a day.
I would add not just to, obviously don't swallow it, but when you spit it out, don't just go drink water right away. Like I know it's gross. You're going to have a gross feeling in your mouth for a little bit. You can just keep spitting that out, but let that coat everything for a little bit. You don't want to wash it away.
Too. Yeah. Don't wash that out of your mouth after the lozenge. Like let it hang out there for half an hour or so before you start drinking water again.
One of the other things, and this is again completely anecdotal, right? But a lot of times when I'm in this season, I will make, I learned this from somebody in Louisiana, but I'll make garlic soup. So make it a couple ways. You can make it with a cornstarch roux and a bunch of cloves of garlic. You can roast the garlic ahead of time. It's about 50 cloves of garlic. It's a lot. It's meant to be strong. And chicken broth or chicken stock, bone broth. I like to make it with a rotisserie chicken. Just get a rotisserie chicken from Walmart, from Kroger, and just cook that down until the bones are just flexible and mushy, and get you some good broth out of that. Salt it up real hard, and then throw it in there with that roasted garlic, a little bit of butter, and then whatever your roux is. Sometimes I'll just use bread. You can just use like sourdough bread. You can cut it really thin, put it in the pan, pour the broth over it, let it thicken. And that has a really strong antibacterial and antiviral effect in the stomach, as well as down some of the esophagus and the throat. And so that's fairly anecdotal. I mean, there's not a ton of research on garlic soup, obviously.
I mean, I've done something very similar, but if you add a little bit of like grated ginger to it, it tastes a little more like a ramen broth, and the ginger is helpful for if whatever you're dealing with is upsetting your stomach at all.
So it is a time-tested sort of home remedy, right? And if nothing else, it tastes pretty good, and it will help you feel a little better because it's hot and salty. Yeah,
and whatever you do, don't take the spoonful of honey if you're mistaking a sore throat for hand, foot, and mouth disease.
Right. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
You don't need a vehicle for it.
I got hand, foot, and mouth disease it was about 11 years ago, and I just thought I had a really bad sore throat. But I was starting to get like the lesions on your fingertips and stuff. I was like, oh, that's weird. I didn't really know what it was. I'd heard of it, but I didn't know what to look for. I had this horrible sore throat, and I woke up one morning and it was nasty. So I went and grabbed honey, took a spoonful, and it was like swallowing razor blades.
No.
No.
It's because there's all the skin's gone from your throat, and so it's like swallowing a bunch of shards of crystal. Basically, like it was.
Yeah, we've never had that in our household, but man, when somebody gets it, everybody gets it.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, I actually Emily didn't get it for some reason.
Well, and again, if you're swallowing honey, you're carrying dead tissue into live tissue. No good. The tissue's peeling off. When you have hand, foot, and mouth, it's necrotic, right? And so
it's totally different from other illnesses. Yeah. I mean that's just more of to tell a funny story than anything. You probably don't have you probably don't have it, and then you do have it, you know it, and
you'll know it.
Yeah, you'll know it. It is. Kids usually barely get it. Adults, it can just be like one of the most miserable things ever. I think those would be the main.
If you do come down with something, my general rule is if it is from the neck up, you're still good to work out. It's
Yeah.
okay if you do your same. I mean, unless you're just miserable, you're okay to do your same program.
Yeah.
Neck down. What I'm talking
Maybe
about
you
is
take a little
body
bit of
aches,
weight off
severe.
because you're
Yeah,
weak, or whatever. That's
exactly.
fine.
Yeah. Any fever signs, body aches, severe chest congestion, that's when it's time to rest.
Vomiting.
So that one,
Yeah.
that should be a no-brainer,
You
but
you wouldn't believe how many clients are like, I threw up 6 hours ago. You think I'm okay to work out? I'm like, no, probably not.
you are
Yeah.
not fueled.
Basically, like the best thing to do is go for long walks.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Still get
get
some
out and
movement
walk.
in, but
Go on a treadmill maybe, but like probably not time to lift heavy weights if your body's having serious issues controlling its own temperature.
Yeah. The other thing to consider too is that if you do have above the neck stuff and it's high pressure, like you've got sinus pressure, you really don't want to go as heavy as you normally do. It will cause you these, I mean, just crippling headaches.
Unless you
It will
bust
cause
it
you,
loose. I did that
yeah,
once and I squatted heavy and I busted
yeah,
busted everything loose.
unless,
you
yeah,
could easily
unless
end
you
up
want
with
to take,
vertigo at the
yeah,
same time.
Oh
unless
yeah,
you
it could be
the
horrible.
bleeding it out approach, right?
Yeah.
That's right. But no, in general, it is going to hurt more when you work out if you've got head congestion and things like that. So just do the normal workouts, but like Justin said, take some weight off.
Takes
Don't
it
be a
and it
hero.
might clear you up too. Usually
Yeah.
when I do that, it clears me up. I feel
Yeah.
usually
Agreed.
I might feel more fatigued than usual after the workout, but my
Yeah.
sense of
And-
just like feeling okay
Yeah.
is
And that's,
usually
by the way,
way
that's
more.
a perfect time for a post-workout nap if you have the space for it. Get a little extra
Yeah.
rest.
Yeah.
Get some have a little bit of sugar and protein, like a little bit of fruit juice, chug a protein shake, go take a nap.
Yeah. It's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. And if nicotine helps you fall
And-
asleep, try that.
Right.
Some people
And
does,
the
some
other
people
thing
doesn't.
is that Amanda was talking about the neck down stuff. Look, if you just feel like crap, here's the deal. You're already infected with something. That's probably a legitimate illness. If you're at that stage, you've got legitimate problems. There is a time where, as much as we talk about normalizing routine and things like that, there's a time where it's like, hey, it's blankie and grilled cheese time, and that's okay. Just that's fine. Just chill out.
Just don't
It's
don't
okay
eat
to
crap
rest.
when that happens. That's the main thing that I tell people to watch
Yeah.
out for. Is like you might be feeling like you want to just eat ice cream or whatever it
Yeah,
is.
don't eat that stuff.
Don't
Yeah.
do that. That's actually the time to not do that. Like if you can handle eggs, then eat eggs. If you can
Yeah.
handle meat, then eat meat. Eat
Yeah.
your you should be focusing on protein sources and fruits for the most part.
Soup with a lot of protein in it is one of my favorites. Chicken
Yeah.
soups are phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Grandma
Soups are
wasn't
always
wrong about that stuff. Like hot soups when you're sick, it helps break things up in your throat. You'll feel a little better. It's a way to get some nutrition in.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not a bad move. People have been doing this for hundreds, probably thousands of years. It's probably about the best thing to eat when you're sick for a lot of reasons. And also just sitting over the bowl and the steam that you're inhaling can help clear your nose out. And if you
also
can
a
handle
low
things
caloric
spicy,
load.
spice it up. It'll help clear
Right.
you out. These are good things. Just don't reach for the ice cream and the chips
Yeah.
and don't drink sugary soda. Like if you're gonna drink sometimes carbonated drinks can feel nice on your throat. Then have a diet soda or just straight carbonated water or whatever. Those are the things to focus on. And
if you overload the sugar and dairy, that can increase mucus production, and that's going to keep you sick longer. But for me personally, I tend to lose my appetite whenever I'm
too.
sick. So it's anything that I can make into a liquid diet is good, which is why, if I do make soup, I'm using bone broth so I can get a little extra protein. I'm using the easier for more palatable meats usually, like that Tuscan soup with the Italian sausage and stuff. I make that all the time whenever we're sick because it's easy
even
to
a
swallow.
fruit
You don't have
smoothie
to,
with a scoop
Yeah.
of whey in it or two.
Yeah. Yogurt is a great option too. I
As long
love
as you're
Greek
dairy
yogurt.
tolerant. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can reduce the fat on it, right, to have less of an effect from the dairy. Mostly it's the fat that causes that. But if you're sensitive to casein and stuff, non-fat Greek yogurt is definitely the way to go because it's strained. It doesn't have all that in it. And so, I think, there's lots of good options. But, for me, I actually gain more of an appetite when I'm sick. I get so hungry. And I think because I'm
I
normally
know I'm
more,
getting better because I'll wake up one day and I'll actually be hungry.
yeah,
And I'm like, oh, I must not be sick anymore.
well, I just run around so much. I think not running around makes me psychologically want to eat more potentially, right? So even though I'm
Yeah.
sick, right, I just want to eat more. And that's when like high volume, high protein soups with lots of veggies and stuff are a great delivery system for food. I mean, I can have 3 massive bowls of chicken soup. And if it's made right, then you're talking about probably less than 2,000 calories through the day,
Yeah.
even if I have crackers and bread with it or something.
Yeah,
It's
even if you
not
put
that
some
much.
noodles in it, it's not. It's still mostly liquid.
It's a low calorie load, so I don't feel just overloaded and gross, right? But I'm still full. I still get plenty of protein, lots of veggies, right? Lots of salt, lots of electrolytes, all the good stuff. Lots of fluid, which you need when you're sick. It's a great way to get more water in, right? And so, I mean, I think all those are great options. I'll be honest, I like just a protein shake as well. I just like a protein shake. I tend to load more creatine when I'm sick as well because it helps you retain a little more water. So if I'm taking 5, I'll go from 5 to 10. If I'm taking 10, I'll go from 10 to 12 and a half. This is a good way to keep more water. It will help you feel a little better. It will keep your energy levels up.
Yeah, usually it helps with some of that mental clarity that you can
Yeah, the
lack
mental fog.
when
It'll
you're
help keep some of that at bay.
sick. Yeah.
Yes. And I also am a big proponent of a high carbohydrate meal before bed when you're sick.
Yeah.
Really eat a lot of carbohydrates before you go to bed. And I'm talking 60 to 80 grams of carbohydrates. Just slam them back.
Oh, those
right?
are beginner weights.
Well, I'm talking for a normal person. For me, it's like 150 or, whatever.
Yeah.
But not, you have to work up to
eating. Cooked rice is like only 50 grams of carbs.
You have to work up to eating as many grapes as I do before I go to bed. No, I'm joking. But in all seriousness, that is a great time for some gentle carbohydrates. Dry carbs tend to work better there. A fruit's great, but you're just not going to get enough in. And I don't think necessarily that like fruit juice is the best at night. I like that more midday for performance. Yeah. But something like a rice, noodles are even fine at that point. If you want to have some noodles or something, that's okay. Just don't drench them in fat.
Yeah. By the way, since we're talking about noodles, because I don't tolerate digesting noodles real well sometimes. I can't remember who makes them. I'll find out for another podcast. There are these brown rice noodles that a client actually discovered. He found them. He's like, are these okay to substitute for the rice? I'm not usually a fan of brown rice, but he's one of these guys that's an exception because most people digest white rice, like jasmine rice, better than any brown rice. And I'm like that. I think we're all like that. 95% of my clients are like that. But every once in a while you get someone that like white rice actually sits in their stomach for a while and then brown rice moves through quicker. So anyway, he was like, hey, can I use this? And I was like, I looked at the ingredients. It's just brown rice. Like there's not junk in it. And I was like, yeah, go for it. He loves it. We got some so that we could try with a couple like recipes. And Emily made something Asian with it last week. I forget what. Oh, it was like a peanut butter chicken thing that she wanted to try. It was actually really good. It's probably going to make it on the cookbook
rotation.
That we'll get to someday. We're going to do it. I keep, we will. It'll happen. But anyway, it turned out really good. But the noodles didn't mess with me at all. Digested them just fine. Had no issues. I'll look up the brand because some people probably want to know. But highly recommend, by the way, and like great for this kind of thing because you can slurp a lot of noodles down if you want.
Yeah. So, and again, soup's a great way to get that in as well. You throw some noodles in soup.
Broccoli cheese soup does not count.
No,
when we're talking about soup,
please don't.
Broccoli doesn't taste good anyway. I mean, I don't know what bodybuilders
covered in cheese soup.
This is one thing the old school bodybuilders got wrong was all the broccoli. Like,
I like broccoli, but you don't need to like make it swim in cheese and then call it a soup.
Well, that's the thing. If you're gonna get your veggies in, get your veggies in. Like, but don't get them in with like. You're not eating your veggies when you drown it in cream and cheese. That's not getting your veggies in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a green bean guy. Like, I'm not a broccoli guy. I'm a green bean guy. I like sugar snap peas and I like green beans.
Yeah, I don't know about the peas, but the green beans are good.
Well, I don't like peas, but sugar snap peas are more like a green bean.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
you need
okay.
them in the
Yeah.
shell.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah.
You know,
I'm also someone that reacts poorly to cauliflower and broccoli. It does
yeah,
not
I don't
digest
like.
well.
So
I don't like it, and I don't
yeah.
digest it well. So
It's also inappropriate for me because I'm an extreme thyroid case, and cruciferous vegetables just don't do well with
yeah,
thyroid
I get
medication.
I get more gassy from
Yeah.
broccoli than probably any other food.
Yeah.
Like I will get so bloated and uncomfortable from
Yeah.
broccoli.
It's not low FODMAP, that's for sure.
No, no, it's not. And some people tolerate it fine. I'm just giving broccoli a
Sure.
hard time because
Yeah.
it's a trash vegetable. But anyway,
Same. All
Whatever.
right, bodybuilding world. Same.
bodybuilders got it wrong.
Don't take my tiny trees. I like them.
Amanda likes the little
Yeah,
trees.
actually, Emily likes them too. She'll sit there and eat a pie, especially when she's on an
Jade likes
aggressive
it
diet.
too.
She'll eat a pile of them with salt on them or something. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, good for you. I
Yeah.
can't do that. Yeah, well, cool. I think we addressed it. So like, by the way, anyone, obviously, if you're thinking about this stuff, you're wanting to figure out how to just improve your lifestyle. That's what we teach. We don't just write training programs and diets. We're trying to actually like help you with your lifestyle. A lot of our communication day to day with clients is probably about how to live better, as much as it is what to do in the kitchen and the gym, like how to sleep well, how to do all these things well. There are actual like ways to apply the stuff that does change on an individual basis, and problem solving for the individual with all the variables that we have in our real lives that are complicated can be complex. It can be difficult and challenging. So if you want help navigating this stuff, you have goals of changing your body composition, changing your health state, stuff like this. You're tired of seasonal illness. You're tired of gaining 10 pounds every holiday season and then only losing 5 of it in the springtime and then wondering, where does this lead as you get closer to 300, 400 pounds? Reach out to us. We know how to help you. If you do what we say, we promise it'll work. Everybody that does what we say, it works. Like there's not a single person who's followed our programs, followed our advice, and managed to like retain excessive body fat or not get healthier. We've all here reversed type 2 diabetes. We've helped people come off of antidepressants. We've reversed high blood pressure. Like all that stuff is very, very treatable. Help people with their brain fog, help people with just chronic tiredness and illness and all sorts of other problems, achiness, aches and pains, all that stuff. You don't have to live that way. You don't have to be nervous about flu season. Like, I don't get the flu. I'm not saying it's impossible. It just doesn't happen on a regular basis. I don't even think about it. None of us do. So anyway, we'd love to help you. Go to highcallingfitness.com, book a meeting with us, send us a message on the socials. Be happy to talk with you about how we might be able to help or just give you some advice. Meeting with us is free. We'll just talk half an hour. You're not going to get hurt. We don't bite. Awesome, guys. Well, thanks everyone for listening in. Thanks, Bill and Amanda, for your input, and we'll look forward to catching you guys on the next one. And I would say happy Thanksgiving, but this is coming out after Thanksgiving, so happy, hopefully not getting sick after Thanksgiving or something. We'll see you guys.
All right.
Gains and grace. Oops.
Gains and grace.
Gains and grace.